Go. That means you don't get to pick where you're going. Just go. You know what? A lot of us got an idea of what street ministry is, and some of us say that ain't my calling. And I might agree with you, because you in a sense, you're going on the street and you ain't prepared. But when the Lord says go, can I just talk to y'all about that thing? When he just says go, can I just tell you? See, y'all thought he was talking about on the street. But can I tell you what he's talking about? He's saying go home and tell. Because some of us got some folk in the house. Right. Somebody out there. And I listen. Now don't get mad at me, but you paying the bills. And you are providing shelter for somebody on their way to hell. Right. So in the going, he ain't talking about church, but he's just talking about in your everyday going. Because even at work, yes, sir. He said, go to work. And you know what? You ain't. Some of y'all say, well, I don't know what to say. You ain't got to say nothing. Live it. Right. Because your action, somebody ought to help me right there, speaks louder than words. And so if you got enough Jesus in you, if you walk right, if you talk right, if you live right, then in your going, God will use you when he gets ready. Right. Somebody needs to know that sometimes, anybody in here that when you go to lunch, you bow your big head. Right. And go on and say a prayer. Anybody? Because don't you know that's saying a lot? That's saying a lot to somebody. Now work with me right here. Work with me right here. Don't cuss nobody out on your way to lunch. All right. And then bow your head. Don't tell nobody off. Don't be in the break room, Fred. Don't be in the break room gossiping about, you know what? Right. And then bow your head. Because you got to be willing to let your light shine everywhere you go. And so the Lord is simply saying, in your everyday going, young folk at school. Right. Hello. All right. You ought to turn in, hear me now, every assignment. Right. Hello, somebody. Every assignment. And you young folk, hello. I don't care what the other kids are doing, you don't talk back to your teacher. Right. Hello, somebody. Hello. I wish somebody would just holler back at me. Because it's in your everyday going. See, somebody up here talking, ooh, I don't know. I'm not an evangelist. I don't know what to say. You ain't got to worry about it. If you just live the life, it'll just come natural. I mean, if you say you're saved, then just don't be saved for a couple of hours a week. Try being saved every so that whenever folks see you, they'll see Christ in you. Right? Yeah. On the job where I work, or at least show up. I've had opportunities. That just because of the way that I carry myself, I've had opportunities to do weddings, and I be the only black person there. All right. I have a co-worker who takes no stuff from nobody. She don't take no stuff from nobody. And she said to me, she says, listen, I went to my auntie's funeral, and the priest got up, and he couldn't say nothing about my auntie because he didn't know her. She says, would you do my service? She said, I know I'm kind of rough, but I think you can find a couple of good things. Y'all not feeling me, y'all. Because if you live the life before them, in your going, then folk won't mind. Yeah. I'm just trying to keep it real.
All right.
Co-worker, ex-husband died, and they had one daughter, and she was grown, and she got to take care of her daddy's service, and as usual, I was running late. They were waiting on me, and she says, at the funeral home, they asked us, did we know a minister? And I told them you. And I said, for what? And they said, she told me her ex-husband had died, and she said, so would you officiate? I never saw her before in my life. But she said, they asked, did we know a minister personally?
All right.
And Gary, I found a couple of things about him. I talked to them. I got a couple of things about him. And Tamara, I walked up in there, and there was one thing they forgot to tell me.
Right.
He was a biker.
All right.
Had his black man is in the funeral, and not only is he the only black person, but the rest of them got on vests, tattoos. They sitting up in there with shades on, motorcycles all over the place, and I had to stand. Yes, I did. And I for real though. Can I just be real? Yeah. I was stirred. But I had an opportunity. Somebody ought to help me. I had an opportunity to say something about my Jesus in the midst of them. And one of the joys is that an older man with a suit on, they made me stand by the casket. And when that old man got up to me, he shook my hand with tears in his eyes and said, thank you. And God is saying unto us, you need to carry yourself. I believe the old folk will say it like this. You ought to live so. God can use you anytime and anywhere. And so God commissions us. He commands us to go. All right. Some of us need to go. We need to just go be who we are. I mean, try taking your Sunday face to work. I wish I had a witness right there. You got to know how to just let your light shine everywhere you go. I mean, just she need to get it. Who's this? I know. So I gotta talk to y'all on y'all level. Your life is a reality show. The angels got cameras. And they following you. Thank you, right there. Hello, somebody. They following you. Because the Lord has commissioned us to go, and there's some angels with some. Okay. That's enough. I'll let that one soak in right there. The reality. And so the Lord, He commands us to go. And then the second thing is He says, go tell. And so the second thing is you got to know the gospel story. Amen. Jesus said, preach the gospel to every creature. And we can't confuse the word preach and feel that the word is meant only for preachers. Because the word preach in its original form means to proclaim.
Right. All right.
That means tell the gospel story, for the gospel stories is good news.
Yeah.
Who is to tell the story?
Yeah.
He said, go ye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who is the ye?
Yeah.
Every baptized believers ought to be telling the story.
Yeah. All right.
You know, you ought to tell folks about your own personal story. Anybody in there got a story?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, you gotta stop being ashamed of your story.
Yeah.
Because your story, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's not that you done it. The joy is you've been delivered. And somebody ought to tell the story. Just tell it like a TIL. I tried on my own.
Yeah.
But I could not do it. I kept flunking out. But until I met Jesus.
Yeah.
Somebody ought to have a story to tell. Somebody ought to tell some folk, oh, you looking at me now, but you should have seen me win. Yeah. I haven't always been in church. I've done some other stuff that I'm ashamed of. But somebody ought to just tell somebody, if it had not been for the Lord on my side, I'm trying to tell somebody, I don't know where I would be right now. So all of us got a past.
Right.
And some of our past is even in our presence.
Right.
Okay, hello somebody. So some of us up in here, we only got the testimony that I don't do it as much.
Right.
My good friend T.L. Garner said, he said, man, guess what I found out? I said, T.L., what you find out? He said, man, it's not that I live a sinless life. It's that since I've been with Jesus, I just sin less. Somebody missed that. Somebody. Because you tell your story, and Sister Howard, you can't tell your story as if you got wings now. You can't tell your story as if you got a halo on. You got to tell your story because if the truth be told, you still struggle as a Christian. The good that I would do, that I do not, that I know I ought not do, that I find myself doing. So tell your story.
All right.
Yes.
That's what the Lord needs. You tell the good news about your story. Quit being ashamed of where God brought you from. Where